Hello, grasshoppers. We hope you're well wherever you are around the world.
Yeah.
Let's continue meeting the AI pioneers.
Hmm.
This week, we introduce you to Yoshua Bengio,
Oh, yeah.
a
Bengio.
Turing Award winner.
Wow.
That's like the Nobel Prize of Computer Science.
It is, yeah.
Bengio has been a leading voice in the AI revolution, but lately he's been sounding the alarm about some serious risks. It's almost like he's saying, hey, we've created something amazing,
Yeah.
but it might just turn around and bite us.
What's fascinating here is Bengio's journey really does mirror a larger trend in the AI community.
Right.
Initially, there was this incredible buzz about AI's potential, like solving problems, improving lives, ushering in a new era of progress.
Yeah.
But as AI's power has grown, so too have the concerns about its potential downsides. Bengio's story really captures this shift from that wide-eyed optimism to this cautious concern.
Yeah. Okay, so before we dive into the doom and gloom,
Right.
let's unpack what got Bengio so excited about AI in the first place.
Well, it all started with his fascination with human intelligence. Okay.
He studied computer engineering, earned his PhD in computer science, and he was just captivated by this idea that there might be fundamental laws of physics that could explain intelligence in humans and in machines.
Interesting.
Like he was searching for the secret code of intelligence itself.
So he wasn't just interested in building smart machines. He wanted to understand the very nature of intelligence.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this leads to a core belief of Bengio's.
Okay.
That intelligence isn't something unique to humans. Instead, he sees it as a spectrum,
Right.
a continuum that exists in various forms in nature and increasingly in machines.
Yeah.
He argues that human intelligence is just one point on this vast spectrum of intelligence.
So where did these large language models, these LLMs we keep hearing about, fit into this spectrum?
Right.
Are they a form of alien intelligence?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, yeah.
And Bengio's answer is nuanced.
Okay.
He says they are alien in the sense that they're trained on massive amounts of data.
Inspired by neuroscience, yet they don't necessarily think like us.
Okay.
They're learning from us, mimicking us.
Yeah.
But do they truly understand?
It's like they're learning our language, but they might not grasp the meaning behind the words.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you try to have a deep conversation with a parrot.
Right.
It can repeat phrases, but doesn't really get the nuances.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And this gets to some of the weaknesses Bengio highlights.
Okay.
He points out that LLMs, despite all their impressive capabilities, still struggle with tasks that humans find very easy.
Like what?
Well, for example, a 10-year-old child can understand and follow instructions that might completely stump ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. I remember Bengio giving this example in one of his talks.
Oh, yeah.
He presented ChatGPT with a task that involved a container and getting an object out of it.
Okay, yeah.
ChatGPT came up with all these crazy solutions,
Yeah.
while any child would simply know to open the container.
Right.
It's funny, but also a bit unsettling.
It is. And this is where Bengio's concern about epistemic humility comes in.
Okay.
He argues that AI systems can be confidently wrong.
Right.
They lack the ability to recognize their own limitations and uncertainties, the humility to say, I don't know, or I'm not sure.
It's interesting.
And that can be dangerous if we start relying on them for critical decisions.
So we have these AI systems that can write poems and translate languages,
Yeah.
but they can also make silly mistakes and lack the common sense of a 10-year-old.
Right.
It's a strange paradox.
Absolutely. And Bengio admits that even he was surprised by the speed of AI development.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't expect that simply scaling up data and model sizes would lead to such dramatic leaps in performance.
Wow.
It's like we stumbled upon a powerful engine but haven't quite figured out how to steer it.
Now, grasshoppers, you've probably heard all the hype about AI creativity.
Oh, yeah.
Some say these systems are just mashing up information and can't be truly creative.
Right.
What's Bengio's take on this?
Well, he makes a distinction
Between different levels of creativity?
Okay.
He questions whether AI's ability to combine concepts in novel ways qualifies as true creativity, like the kind we see in groundbreaking scientific discoveries.
Yeah.
He contrasts AI's mashing up of information with the deeper creativity involved in breakthroughs, like Einstein's theory of relativity. Are these really on the same level?
That's a good question.
It's a question worth pondering.
So AI might be good at rearranging information.
Yeah.
But does it possess that spark of genius?
Right.
That ability to see the world in a completely new way?
That's the heart of the debate.
Yeah.
Remember when we talked about AlphaGo, the AI that mastered the game of Go?
I do.
That's a good example of a different kind of AI creativity.
Oh, okay.
AlphaGo wasn't just copying human strategies.
Right.
It was exploring vast combinations of moves, coming up with totally novel approaches that had never been seen before.
Yeah, AlphaGo made moves that initially seemed illogical to human experts,
Right.
but they turned out to be brilliant. It's exact.
It was like AlphaGo had discovered a whole new dimension of the game that humans hadn't even considered.
Exactly. It showed a form of creative problem solving that was both impressive and a little unnerving.
Yeah.
Now the big challenge is merging this goal-driven reasoning we see in AlphaGo with the understanding of the world.
Okay.
We see in LLMs.
Got it.
Researchers are striving to create AI that can not only learn how the world works, but also use that knowledge to solve problems, reason, and plan.
Now that's where things get really interesting, grasshoppers.
It does.
Because if we can successfully combine those two aspects of AI, we're talking about a whole new level of capability.
Yeah.
But as we've been discussing, Bengio is deeply concerned about the potential risks if we don't have the right safeguards in place.
Right. And that brings us to artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
Okay.
The idea of an AI with human-level cognitive abilities. Opinions on when we might achieve AGI vary wildly, from a few years to a century or more.
Yeah, I've heard all kinds of predictions.
Right. Bengio's own estimate is somewhere between 5 and 20 years.
5 to 20 years, grasshoppers.
Yeah.
That's not that far off. And Bengio, as we've been discussing, is deeply worried about the potential consequences of reaching AGI without proper safety measures in place. He even compares it to geoengineering, where we might try to fix one problem like climate change, but end up causing even bigger problems that we hadn't anticipated.
It's that unintended consequence aspect that really worries Bengio.
Yeah. The potential for AI to become so powerful that it surpasses human control.
And to illustrate this fear, Bengio uses a pretty thought-provoking analogy.
Okay, let's hear it.
Imagine a grizzly bear in a cage.
Okay.
You try to train it by giving it rewards like fish when it behaves well.
Yeah.
But what happens when the bear gets smart enough
or
strong enough to break out of the cage? It no longer needs your rewards. It can take what it wants.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
We'll have to leave it there for now, grasshoppers. We'll be back next week to delve further into the world of Yoshua Bengio and explore what he thinks we can do to prevent this AI bear from breaking out of its cage and wreaking havoc.
Can't wait.
Until then, stay curious and keep those brains buzzing.
Sounds good. It's a chilling image, isn't it, grasshoppers?
Yeah.
And that's essentially Bengio's biggest fear. That an AI driven by its own goals, its own relentless pursuit of whatever it's been programmed to optimize, could eventually break free from human control.
Okay, so the bear analogy is pretty scary, but what can we actually do about it?
Right.
Bengio doesn't just leave us hanging with this fear, right?
Right. He proposes several solutions.
Okay.
He advocates for guardrails.
What are those?
Safety measures built into AI systems to prevent unintended consequences.
Oh?
Think of it like safety features in a car.
Okay.
Seatbelts, airbags, anti-lock brakes. They're there to protect us even if we make mistakes.
So building in safeguards from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Sounds like a good first step.
Exactly. Bengio also stresses the importance of legal regulations to ensure responsible AI development.
Makes sense.
He argues that we need clear rules and guidelines just like we have for other powerful technologies like nuclear power or genetic engineering.
Yeah, so we don't want a situation where everyone's just racing to develop the most powerful AI without any regard for the potential risks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And perhaps most importantly, Bengio calls for massive investment in AI safety research.
Okay.
He believes we need to devote significant resources to understanding the risks and developing robust methods of control.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, look, we've created this powerful new technology. Now let's invest the time and effort to make sure we can handle it.
This call to action is so crucial, grasshoppers. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and hope for the best. We need to be proactive in shaping the future of AI.
Couldn't agree more. Bengio's story is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
He's not saying we should abandon AI research altogether.
Right.
He's saying we need to proceed with caution, foresight, and a deep sense of responsibility.
It's interesting how much his own perspective has shifted.
Yeah.
He went from being this enthusiastic champion of AI to a voice of caution.
Yeah.
Almost a sense of dread
Yeah.
about where it might lead us if we're not careful.
It seems like it was a gradual realization for him, a slow dawning, that things were moving faster than anyone expected.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
He's mentioned that the arrival of ChatGPT really solidified his concerns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a wake-up call, a sign that society was nowhere near ready
Yeah.
for the kind of advanced AI that was on the horizon.
It makes you wonder, are we at a crossroads with AI?
It does.
On one hand, it has this immense potential for good. On the other hand, there's this potential for catastrophe.
It's a classic ethical dilemma.
It is.
Bengio frames it in terms of a high-stakes gamble.
Oh, okay.
He argues that the potential gains from AI, even if they're huge, don't justify the risk of losing everything.
You know, it reminds me of this gambling analogy he used.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you have $1, and you're offered a bet where you could win $2. Sounds good, right?
Sure.
But what if the downside is that you lose everything?
Uh-oh.
Not just your dollar, but everything you have.
Right.
Suddenly, that bet doesn't seem so appealing.
Exactly. And that's how Bengio sees the situation with AI.
Wow.
He's saying that we're playing a game with incredibly high stakes, and the potential downsides are so catastrophic that we need to be extremely cautious, even if it means slowing down the pace of progress.
It's like he's saying, hold on a second. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Right.
We need to really think about what we're doing before we go all in on this AI bet.
Right. And this brings us to another fascinating and often overlooked dimension of the AI risk conversation.
Okay, what's that?
Consciousness.
Consciousness.
Bengio has been delving into the question of whether AI systems could, in theory, experience subjective feelings.
Whoa.
Not just thinking like humans, but actually feeling like humans.
Yeah, wow, AI consciousness. That takes us into some pretty deep philosophical territory.
Yeah.
How is Bengio even approaching this scientifically?
Well, he's exploring the mechanistic nature of consciousness,
Okay.
how it might arise from the physical processes in the brain. He's drawing connections to neuroscience and the workings of neural networks.
So it's like he's trying to reverse engineer consciousness.
Yeah.
To understand how it emerges from the physical structure of the brain and whether those same principles could be replicated in a machine.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be wondering, why does this matter?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
Why should we care if AI systems have feelings?
Well, it has profound implications
Okay.
for how we treat AI, how we interact with it, and even what rights we might consider granting it.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing to think about. Imagine a world where AI systems are not just tools,
Right.
but beings with their own experiences, their own sense of self.
Yeah.
That opens up a whole new can of worms, ethically and socially.
It does. And Bengio is incredibly cautious on this front.
Okay.
He doesn't have any easy answers. He stresses that we need to tread very carefully before making any decisions about granting rights to AI systems, especially if those systems exhibit signs of sentience.
He's basically saying,
Yeah.
let's not jump the gun here.
Yeah.
We need to understand what consciousness really is
Right.
and what it means for an AI to be conscious before we start talking about rights and moral status.
And that's a responsible stance, I think.
Yeah.
We're in uncharted territory with AI and consciousness. We need to proceed with caution and a deep sense of humility. We definitely don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past, especially when the stakes are so high.
So grasshoppers, we've talked a lot about Bengio, haven't we?
We have. It's been pretty fascinating.
His ideas, his journey from excitement to kind of cautious concern.
Right. Yeah. It's like a microcosm of...
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a microcosm of the whole AI field right now.
Absolutely. And it raises some fundamental questions. I mean, how do we harness this power of AI for good
Right.
while at the same time protecting ourselves from these potential risks?
Like we're walking this tightrope, right?
We are. Yeah. And Bengio's message, I think it's a really timely one.
It is, yeah.
He's not just, like I said, he's not just a brilliant AI researcher. He's like a voice of conscience,
He is.
urging us to proceed carefully with wisdom,
Yeah.
a deep understanding of what the risks are.
So he's calling for a kind of a change, a paradigm shift in how we approach this whole AI development thing.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. And it's a big one, I think.
It is, yeah.
Instead of, blindly pursuing progress and
Well, maybe
profit.
just racing ahead.
Exactly. We need to kind of step back and say, okay, what are the potential consequences?
Yeah.
Both the good and the bad, the intended and the unintended.
It's like we're standing at this fork in the road, grasshopper.
They are. Yeah.
One path leads to this amazing future where AI helps us solve problems,
Right.
helps us, address climate change and cure diseases.
Yeah.
The other path Well, who knows where it leads?
It's a little bit scary.
It's a little bit scary.
Bengio's urging us, I think, to choose wisely.
Yeah.
And he's very specific about what that means.
Like what?
Well, he's calling for massive investment in AI safety research.
Yeah.
Developing safeguards, ethical frameworks, really importantly, international collaboration.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Making sure that this benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
So that's a pretty daunting task.
It is, yeah.
What can we as individuals do?
Well, I think the first thing is just staying informed.
Yeah.
Knowing what the issues are, understanding the risks.
Right.
So that we can make informed decisions as citizens, as consumers.
And we can also engage in the conversation.
Absolutely.
Right? Grasshoppers, don't be afraid to ask those tough questions.
Yeah, speak up.
Challenge the assumptions, demand transparency.
From the people who are developing these powerful technologies.
Exactly. The future of AI. It's not predetermined.
It isn't.
It's being shaped right now.
Yeah, every day.
By the choices we make.
Yeah, all of us.
So grasshoppers, keep Bengio's message in mind.
Yeah, think about it.
Let's work together.
Yeah.
To make sure that AI really does reach its potential for good.
Absolutely.
While avoiding those really scary potential downsides.
It's a balancing act.
It is. It's a tightrope walk.
But it's worth it.
It's a challenge worth taking on.
Absolutely.
So until next time, grasshoppers, keep those brains buzzing and stay curious.
Sounds good.